Welcome, my friends. Today's video will boost your motivation and sharpen your detective-like mindset so you can reach your ultimate goals. Life leaves clues everywhere, but most people walk past them without ever noticing. They rush through their days, distracted, overwhelmed, and stuck in the same problems because they never pause to examine what's really going on. But imagine if you could train your mind to see what others overlook. Imagine if you could unlock the skill that detectives use to solve mysteries, break patterns, and uncover hidden truths. That skill is not magic. It is mindset. And once you learn to think like a detective, your life will never look the same again. A detective doesn't panic. A detective doesn't guess. A detective doesn't get blinded by emotions. They step back, observe, analyze, and discover answers that were always there, just hidden from the average eye. And this is exactly what you need in your own life: the ability to see deeper, think sharper, and respond smarter. Because the truth is simple: your problems, your challenges, your setbacks, all of them carry clues. Clues about what needs to change. Clues about where you're going wrong. Clues about what your next step should be. When you start thinking like a detective, you stop reacting blindly and start understanding your life with precision. This is how you solve your problems. This is how you break old habits. This is how you grow faster than everyone else. Today, you're going to train your mind to see differently, to think sharper, act smarter, and uncover the truth that leads to success. Part 1. Observe. What others ignore. The first rule of thinking like a detective is simple but life-changing. Pay attention to what everyone else overlooks. Most people move through the world on autopilot. They see, but they don't observe. They hear, but they don't listen. They notice problems, but they don't study them. And this is why they keep repeating the same mistakes, because they never catch the clues hiding in the details. A detective knows that the smallest detail can solve the biggest mystery. A footprint, a missing word, a sudden silence, a tiny shift in behavior. These are signals. Life gives you signals too. When something feels off, when a pattern keeps repeating, when a result doesn't match your effort, there's a reason. But most people ignore these hints and hope things magically improve. Detectives don't hope. They observe. Start by training your eyes and mind to slow down. Look at situations from the outside. Ask yourself, what am I missing? What detail is trying to tell me something? Where is the clue that explains this situation? When your motivation drops, there's a clue. When you feel drained around certain people, that's a clue. When you keep procrastinating a specific task, that's a clue. When your dreams excite you but your habits pull you backward, that's a clue. Life is constantly giving you information, but you must look closely. A detective never assumes. They pay attention. They study scenes, analyze expressions, and notice micro moments. You must do the same in your daily life. Study your habits, your emotions, your environment, your results. The answers you want are already there, but they hide in the details you've been ignoring. When you learn to observe deeply, everything changes. You understand people better. You understand yourself better. You spot opportunities before others even notice them. And most importantly, you prevent problems before they explode. The world rewards people who see what others miss. And today, that becomes your new superpower. The power to observe like a detective. Part 2. Ask better questions. Detectives don't get answers because they're lucky. They get answers because they ask the right questions, the kind that cut through confusion and reveal truth. Most people stay stuck not because their problems are impossible, but because they keep asking weak, powerless questions like, "Why is this happening to me?" Or, "Why am I not good enough?" These questions trap you in self-doubt, turn you into a victim, and shut your mind down. Detectives never ask questions that close doors. They ask questions that open paths. If you want to think like a detective, you must learn to dig deeper and challenge every surface-level assumption. The fastest way to transform your life is to transform the questions you ask yourself. When something goes wrong, don't ask, "Why is my life so hard?" Instead, ask, "What is this situation trying to teach me? What part of this is under my control? What clue am I missing?" Detectives know that lazy questions lead to lazy answers, while sharp, intelligent questions unlock solutions that were invisible before. Start asking questions about your habits. What triggers my procrastination? Why do I repeat the same mistakes? What small change would create the biggest shift? Ask questions about your goals. What is the real reason I want this? What skill am I lacking? What is the next step I must take? And ask questions about people. Why do they behave this way? What are they not saying? What are their true intentions? Great detectives never accept the first answer. They keep digging. When you adopt this mindset, you stop living on the surface and start thinking with clarity, logic, and intention. Good questions give you understanding, but great questions give you transformation. Part 3. Follow the clues in your life. Every detective knows that every mystery leaves a trail, and life works the same way. It always gives you clues before it gives you results. The problem is that most people ignore these clues and then wonder why their life feels confusing, chaotic, or stuck. If you want to think like a detective, you must learn to follow the clues your life is already showing you. When you feel drained around certain people, that's not random. That's a clue about your environment. When you constantly procrastinate one specific task, that's not laziness. That's a clue about your fear or lack of clarity. When you try something over and over and keep failing in the same way, that's not bad luck. That's a clue about a missing skill or the wrong approach. Life is always speaking to you, but you must learn how to listen. Detectives never ignore patterns. They track them, document them, and use them to understand the truth. In your own life, your patterns reveal everything: your mindset, your habits, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your future. If you keep quitting halfway, that's a clue that your discipline needs work. If you keep trusting the wrong people, that's a clue about your boundaries. If your goals excite you but your actions don't match them, that's a clue about your alignment. When you follow the clues, your life becomes clearer. Your problems stop feeling mysterious. You begin to understand why things happen the way they do. And more importantly, you gain the power to change your direction. Detectives don't guess. They investigate. They gather evidence and make decisions based on truth, not emotion. You must do the same. Study your days, track your behaviors, notice your reactions, and pay attention to what keeps repeating. Because repetition is the loudest clue of all. The answers you are searching for are already around you, waiting to be noticed. Follow the clues, and your life will stop feeling like a mystery and start looking like a map. A map leading you straight toward growth, clarity, and success. Part 4. Trust your inner instincts. One of the strongest tools a detective relies on is instinct, that inner signal, that subtle feeling, that quiet voice that tells you something isn't right or something is right before the evidence even appears. Most people ignore that voice. They silence it with doubt, with fear, with overthinking, or with the noise of other people's opinions. But detectives know that instinct is not superstition. It is the brain processing details faster than conscious logic can. It is experience, observation, memory, and intuition working together in the background to guide you. In your life, your instincts are clues from your deeper intelligence. And when you learn to trust them, you unlock a level of clarity most people never reach. Think about the moments you regretted. Didn't you have a feeling beforehand? A feeling that told you not to trust that person? Not to take that shortcut? Not to delay that work? Not to ignore that opportunity? And think about the moments you succeeded. Didn't something inside you push you forward even when you couldn't explain why? Your instincts are messages. When something feels off, it usually is. When something feels aligned, it's worth exploring. But trusting yourself requires confidence, and confidence comes from paying attention to your inner voice instead of dismissing it. Detectives combine instinct with logic. You should too. Don't blindly follow emotions, but don't silence your intuition either. When your mind and instinct agree on something, that is your strongest signal. When they disagree, pause and investigate. Your instinct might be trying to protect you from danger, guide you toward a better path, or highlight a truth you're afraid to face. The more you listen, the sharper it becomes. Trusting your instinct doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes. It means you'll stop repeating the same mistakes. You'll stop forcing what doesn't feel right. You'll stop ignoring what your deeper self already knows. To think like a detective, you must trust the quiet clues inside you just as much as the ones outside you. Your instincts are not random. They are your internal compass, guiding you toward clarity, truth, and the right direction in life. Part 5. Connect patterns. Quickly. Detectives solve mysteries not by looking at one clue, but by connecting many clues into a pattern. This is what separates them from ordinary thinkers. They can look at scattered pieces of information and see the bigger picture. In life, this is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Most people only see isolated events, a bad day, a mistake, a failure, a moment of doubt. But a detective sees connections. This keeps happening. This always leads to that. This behavior produces this result. When you begin to connect the patterns in your own life, everything becomes clearer. If you notice that every time you skip your morning routine, your whole day feels off, that's a pattern. If you notice that every time you scroll your phone at night, you wake up tired, that's a pattern. If you notice that certain people always drain your motivation, that's a pattern. Patterns reveal truth. And once you see them, you can no longer lie to yourself. Detectives know that the truth is often found not in one clue, but in the relationship between clues. You must do the same. Look at your habits, your reactions, your results, not as single moments, but as connected chains. Your life is a story written in patterns. Your growth is hidden in patterns. Your weaknesses and strengths are exposed in patterns. And once you learn to connect these patterns, you gain control over your direction. You stop being surprised by your outcomes because you finally understand what creates them. The moment you recognize a negative pattern, you gain the power to break it. And the moment you recognize a positive pattern, you gain the power to strengthen it. Thinking like a detective means thinking in connections, not moments. It means stepping back, zooming out, and seeing the full image. When you master the ability to connect patterns quickly, you don't just understand your life, you decode it. And once you decode it, you can redesign it any way you want. Part 6. Remove emotional noise. A detective cannot solve a case when their mind is clouded with emotion. Fear, anger, insecurity, and frustration create mental noise, a fog that blocks logic, clarity, and good decision-making. In the same way, your life becomes clearer the moment you learn to silence emotional noise. Most people make decisions in the heat of the moment. They react instead of thinking. They let stress distort judgment. They let temporary feelings create permanent consequences. But detectives know a one truth. Emotion is information, not instruction. Just because you feel something strongly doesn't mean it's true, and it doesn't mean you should react to it immediately. Thinking like a detective requires stepping back from your feelings long enough to evaluate the situation with a clear mind. When anger rises, pause. When doubt screams, breathe. When anxiety takes over, slow everything down. Emotional noise tries to convince you that everything is urgent, everything is personal, and everything is worse than it really is. But clarity comes from distance, from creating space between what you feel and what you choose to do. Detectives separate facts from feelings, and you must learn the same skill. The fact may be that you made a mistake. The feeling may tell you that you're a failure, but that feeling is a lie. The fact may be that someone criticized you. The feeling may tell you that you're worthless, but that feeling is also a lie. Emotional noise exaggerates, distorts, and misguides. When you quiet it, you begin to see reality for what it truly is. You can analyze a situation without panic, make decisions without pressure, and respond without regret. Removing emotional noise doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means not letting them control you. Feel the emotion, but don't follow it blindly. Let it pass through you, not lead you. A calm mind sees more, understands more, and solves more. When you clear the emotional noise, you think like a detective, focused, sharp, and unstoppable. Part 7. Look beyond the obvious. Detectives know that the obvious answer is rarely the real answer. They understand that what you see on the surface is only a small piece of the truth, and the real story is usually hidden underneath. In life, most people rush to conclusions. They assume, they judge, they react, and they accept the first explanation their mind gives them, even when it's wrong. But thinking like a detective means training yourself to go deeper. When something happens, don't stop at the surface. Always ask, what's behind this? What's the real reason? What am I not seeing yet? If you argue with someone, the obvious issue may be the words they said, but the deeper truth might be miscommunication, fear, stress, or unmet expectations. If you fail at something, the obvious reason might be lack of effort, but the deeper truth might be lack of clarity, poor strategy, or a limiting belief, holding you back. When you feel unmotivated, the obvious cause may look like laziness, but the deeper cause could be burnout, boredom, or the fact that the goal isn't meaningful enough. Detectives don't get fooled by appearances, and neither should you. Always look for the deeper layer. The intention behind the action, the pattern behind the behavior, the cause behind the effect. Your life becomes incredibly powerful when you stop reacting to what things seem to be and start investigating what they really are. Most people lose opportunities because they only look at the surface. Most people stay stuck because they never question the first answer that appears in their mind. But when you look beyond the obvious, you discover solutions nobody else sees. You uncover strengths you didn't realize you had. You dismantle fears that once controlled you, and you start making decisions based on truth, not assumptions. Thinking like a detective means being curious, not careless, being patient, not impulsive. The deeper you look, the more control you have. The more control you have, the faster you grow. And the faster you grow, the closer you move toward the life you truly want. Part 8. Break problems into smaller pieces. Detectives never try to solve a mystery all at once. They break it down into smaller, manageable pieces, tackling one clue at a time. Life works the same way. Most people feel overwhelmed by problems because they look at the whole picture and see nothing but chaos. A huge goal, a major challenge, or a complicated situation can paralyze you if you try to handle it all at once. Thinking like a detective means learning to divide and conquer. Instead of being intimidated by the entire problem, focus on its components. Identify the first step, the smallest actionable clue, the part you can control right now. If you want to improve your health, don't try to overhaul everything in one day. Start with one habit, a morning walk, a single healthy meal, or a bedtime routine. If your career feels stuck, don't try to solve it all at once. Break it down. Update your skills. Research opportunities, network with one person, write one application. When you break problems into smaller pieces, progress becomes measurable, decisions become easier, and momentum builds. Detectives document each clue, each connection, and each step. You should do the same. Every small win is evidence that you are moving forward, and these small wins accumulate into massive change. Breaking problems down also reduces emotional noise, because it shifts your focus from overwhelm to action. Instead of panicking over the impossible, you begin to act over the possible. This habit trains your mind to see challenges not as threats, but as puzzles waiting to be solved. When you tackle problems piece by piece, you stop procrastinating, stop overthinking, and stop feeling helpless. You gain clarity, confidence, and control. The detective mindset thrives on structure, patience, and precision. And so does your life when you break every challenge into smaller, actionable pieces. Step by step, clue by clue, problem by problem, you move closer to solving your own mysteries and creating the life you want. Part 9. C. From multiple angles. Detectives know that a single perspective can be misleading. They rotate the scene in their minds, examine it from different angles, and consider every possible viewpoint before drawing conclusions. Life works the same way. Most people get stuck because they see things only from their own narrow perspective. They assume they understand everything, but in reality, they are missing crucial details. Thinking like a detective means training yourself to see situations, problems, and people from multiple angles. When someone criticizes you, don't just react emotionally. Step back and ask, could they be stressed, misinformed, or speaking for their own fear? When a plan fails, don't just blame yourself. Ask, what external factors influence this outcome? What am I missing? What could I do differently next time? When faced with a challenge, consider every possible approach, every potential consequence, and every hidden opportunity. Seeing from multiple angles doesn't mean overthinking endlessly. It means being thorough, curious, and open-minded. It helps you avoid mistakes, recognize hidden patterns, and make smarter decisions. Detectives also consider the motivations of others. They imagine what someone else might see, feel, or do, and then adjust their strategy accordingly. In life, this skill helps you communicate better, negotiate smarter, and avoid conflicts that arise from misunderstanding. It also allows you to spot opportunities that others overlook because they are stuck in a single mindset. The more angles you explore, the clearer the truth becomes. You begin to understand cause and effect, motive and action, effort and result. You stop being surprised by setbacks because you have already considered what could happen and prepared accordingly. Thinking like a detective means expanding your view beyond the obvious and the immediate. It means seeing the full picture, not just the fragments. And when you do, you gain perspective, control, and the ability to act with precision and confidence in every area of your life. Part 10. Never stop searching for the truth. The most important trait of a detective is persistence. A detective never stops searching for the truth, no matter how complicated, frustrating, or hidden it may be. Life rewards the same quality. Most people give up too soon. They accept surface-level explanations, they settle for temporary solutions, and they let uncertainty or failure convince them that the truth is unreachable. But the truth is always there, waiting to be discovered, waiting to guide you, waiting to transform your life. Thinking like a detective means committing to relentless curiosity and unwavering determination. It means refusing to be satisfied with incomplete answers. Every challenge you face, every problem you encounter, and every setback you experience carries a lesson. The truth about why it happened, what it teaches, and how to overcome it is always buried in the details. A detective pieces together evidence over time, patiently connecting dots that others overlook. You must do the same with your life. When a goal seems distant, don't abandon it. Investigate what's holding you back. When a relationship becomes challenging, don't run. Uncover the root causes. When your career or personal growth stalls, don't blame luck. Search for the missing pieces, the patterns, the skills, the knowledge you need. The journey to the truth is rarely instant, but it is always worth it. Persistence sharpens your mind, strengthens your instincts, and builds resilience. Every clue you uncover adds clarity and confidence. Every truth you discover empowers you to make better choices, and the more you commit to this relentless search, the more unstoppable you become. Thinking like a detective is not a one-time act. It is a lifelong mindset. Never stop observing, questioning, analyzing, and connecting. Never stop trusting yourself and looking beyond the obvious. Never stop searching for the truth in every aspect of your life. Because the truth is freedom. The truth is growth. The truth is the key to success, and it is yours to uncover if you refuse to quit. Thinking like a detective is more than a mindset. It is a way of living. It is a commitment to clarity, focus, and relentless curiosity. Life will constantly throw challenges, confusion, and setbacks your way, but the way you respond determines your growth. When you observe what others ignore, Ask better questions. Follow the clues in your life. Trust your instincts. Connect patterns. Remove emotional noise. Look beyond the obvious. Break problems into smaller pieces. See from multiple angles, and never stop searching for the truth. You step into a level of awareness and control few ever reach. You stop being a passive participant in your own life and become the investigator of your journey. Every challenge becomes a puzzle, every setback becomes a clue, and every opportunity becomes a pathway toward your goals. The detective mindset teaches you patience, sharpens your reasoning, and trains you to see the world differently. It shows you that solutions are always available if you are willing to look deeper, think critically, and act intentionally. Life's mysteries are not meant to confuse you. They are meant to teach you, guide you, and prepare you for greater success. Your habits, your choices, your relationships, and even your failures all carry the clues you need to grow. The moment you start noticing, analyzing, and acting on those clues, transformation becomes inevitable. Remember this: the world rewards those who are curious, focused, and persistent. The world rewards those who refuse to accept surface-level answers. The world rewards those who think, act, and live like detectives. Make this mindset your superpower, and you will uncover the truth, solve the mysteries in your life, and create the success and freedom you've always wanted. Life is full of clues. All you have to do is see them.